Hello, welcome back to the Historic Places or HP charity for March 25 SBL mock exam debrief. So let's continue our story. Now it's time to look at our task number 3 that I set the mock exam. Now previously, that's in our exhibit, I've told you that our charity signed a contract with the hotel. The hotel name is called Goldmere Hotel. It was a hotel like the 5-star hotel, but with the past practice that not conserving the historical site. So it has been heavily criticized by others. So this is why working with that hotel was certainly damaging our reputation, that we've gone through that in the question 1 or the task number 1 there. So now let's look at the task number 3 from our platform and download the exhibit that I've opened it on the left hand side already. Referring to the exhibit form, okay, so I'm going to be going through the exhibit 4 there on the left hand side. Evaluate whether charity should merge with LTP. What's LTP? Now, if you go back to the Preseen material, Living the Past is called LTP. Okay, so which means that it is our competitor. So I'm writing the mock, guessing that perhaps it's time that we merge all together. Right. The reason is we would like to secure financial stability. Okay, given that the economic recession taking place in our country. Now here, I want you to evaluate it, which means either buying the LTP, alternatively, you simply, yes, fund your business on your own and remaining independent. Now, we are given 10 marks here. Just ignore the professional marks. As I always told my students, it's just to be, although that we've got lots of requirements in the professional marks, but according to my experience, that you simply focus on the technical and the professional marks will be awarded automatically based on how many technical marks that you can get. So according to the marking rule is that 2 marks per point. So therefore 10 divided into 2, and that would be 5 paragraphs I would like to write. So what I would do is in the report, in the answer box that related to this task 3. So changing the font size so you can see that clearly. It's the report. And then it's to the board from consultant, and the subject is merger. Okay, just close the keywords because no markers will be reading the intro, okay, of this report. Now the introduction, I will say that this report, blah, 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 just copy that, okay. Evaluate, blah, blah, blah. Okay, evaluate whether, blah, blah, blah. Right, okay. Now, don't forget, in the ACCA exam, we never punish students for their grammar errors, spelling errors. In other words, just move on. Now, with regards to the content, I would say that evaluate, which means the pros and cons. Now, I would say that if I were to say that for merger, underline this, and against merger, which means stay independent. How many paragraphs? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, right, okay, so we've got the conclusion in the end. And it really depends on how you justify your answer, it doesn't really matter. As I always told my students that the answer will be within the exhibit, so let's read through the exhibit very carefully. Now, this is the strategic review. It's all about the potential merger with the Living the Past. Now, the background here is that our charity and LTP have been the two leading heritage organisations in the country. We focus on sites over 300 years, but LTP focusing on, sites less than 300 years. Historically, the distinct areas meant limited competition, but with funding pressures increasing, the operations starting to overlap. With the recession reducing donor contributions, both charities face financial strain. Okay, that's the first part. Our charity has seen membership stagnation and reputational damage following the hotel controversy. From the previous requirements. While the LTP has used the tech partnerships to attract new investors and increasing revenues. All right, just stop there. The first thing is, as I always told you, is that just copying something that you found that is useful and to twist the answer and comment on those. Just copy them and paste them in there as a starting point. Change the font size so you can see things more clearly. Now, if we were to merge together, I would say that what would be the benefit? So merging all together, we become a larger entity. So therefore, possibly that we can get more support from the government, especially for a government grant. So I would say that just copy this into my answer, number 1 there, which means that for the merger, so HP, charity and LTP can become a larger charity. This means that it may claim grants from government in an easier way. Now, I'm saying according to exhibit information because currently both charities face financial strain, just change the word, financial problems. This can help with increased funding, as a result. Because we can claim grants from the government in an easier way because we are a larger entity. Which means, I would say that in an easier way, so you can also change that because that we've got more bargaining power. So I would say that in an easier way, I can say in another way, because of the increase in bargaining power. Okay, now what comes next? Because LTP used tech partnerships to attract new visitors and increase revenues, so I would expect that I can share the technology that LTP currently has. So into my next point, make sure that you leave a line for each point that you make. Now, after the merger, HP charity may be able to share the technology that LTP has been using to attract customers to further increase revenue. Now, it seems that I just copy the exhibit information without adding something extra to it. So, what do you think? Who likes the new technology? So, I would say that younger customers. This means that HP charity may be able to attract younger customer market more easily. Okay, so that's the benefit. That's for the merger, and that's it. However, if you decide to merge with LTP, there certainly be disadvantages. Okay, so we need to see against merger. Now, moving on, we are told that HP follows a two-tier governance model and trustees overseeing key decisions, while LTP's board operates with more of a commercial flexibility with fewer trustee interventions. So that implies to me that we've got lots of implications on that. If we merge all together, do we keep our existing two-tier structure for the new entity, or do we simply introduce the unitary board structure? That needs to be questioned. So at the same time, I would say that the existing trustees, if they are still in office, they may have conflict in terms of culture, in terms of how to prioritize things with the new management team coming from the LTP. So this is some things that I want to talk about there, because, okay, just checking things in order. But don't forget that once you've copied the exhibit information into your answer, just to delete that, okay? Make sure that you're ready. Now, against it, just copy this and to adjust the exhibit information there. Now, I would say that after the merger, since HP charity is using two-tier structure, i.e., which means, for example, the trustee will be overseeing the strategy. So what strategy? You will need to explain that, okay, more detail, i.e., what should be prioritized. Okay, what should be prioritized first. There might be conflicts among management with the LTP. This LTP, as you can see, has been using tech partnerships and fewer interventions. At the same time, it actively engages in business partnerships, allowing branded experiences and commercial events aside. So this means that there might be conflict with management. I mean, what conflict? Because you're saying conflict, you will need to explain that in order to get the full marks, which means that LTP, in the case, the LTP may be more focusing on commercial activities rather than preservation of site. Now, remember, if you can't remember this, just go back to the Preseen material. I think the section will be quite useful if you look at the website extract in the section 4 there. In the section 4 that we talk about conserve, so I would say that rather than conserving the site, you can say that, i.e., against HP charities value. So you can say this and get the full marks for this point. I mean, according to the marking scheme, usually 2 marks per point. And this is the depth I would expect. Okay. So moving on. Lastly, we're told that our charity emphasizes historical accuracy and guided tours, while LTP integrates AR, VR, and interactive storytelling. So it seems to me that if we were to merge with LTP, and changing our model to the LTP's one, so we may be upsetting our customers. Okay, and possibly that we may not be able to get the corporate sponsorship, okay, from some of our large donors. So what I want to do, firstly, I'd like to copy this and to say that after the merger, if HP Charity decides to adopt AR, VR, interactive storytelling from LTP's model, it may upset the existing donors, given there's a change in such a business model. Okay, therefore, the expected income may reduce. Okay, just to delete anything that I copy from the exhibit. Okay, that's very, very important. Looks cool now, and what I would do is to make a conclusion in the end. What do you think? I would say that that doesn't really matter at all. So if you're making that conclusion, not only you can get the evaluation mark, okay, from a professional, because hidden in this question, and also a technical mark there. So I would say is that given that I don't like cultural conflict, and therefore I will simply reject the offer. Okay, so given that there might be additional costs and time that HP Charity need to input if the merger is going to take place, this would also mean there might be potential complex cultural differences. Cultural and governance differences. Therefore, HP Charity could instead look for alternative funding strategy and remain independent. That's it. That's how we answer this question. I hope you're happy. We don't really need to be going back to what the previous past exam about charity has examined and so on, but just to make sure that you use the right technique that I told you, and you will score very high marks in this paper. I would say that the marking scheme and the marking process will be super generous for the SBL only. So this is why you will need to use the right exam technique. Now, the next requirement. We'll need to present the answer in a memo discussing how government control of historic places will impact economy, efficiency, and effectiveness while ensuring public value. Yes, this one I tipped up in my mock because this hasn't been tested but is within your syllabus. I created another exhibit on the left-hand side. The government decides to take over our HP Charity. I've given you the hints where I would expect you to expand your answer based on the exhibit. Just stop the tape now and do this question on your own and submit for marking to see how you get on. And I wish you the very best of luck. And here for Global APC, we provided the mock exam for March 25. We provide the marking service, and also we go through our mock exam such as this, step by step, telling you what you need to pass this paper more easily. I look forward to your exam success. very soon.
APC, accounting for your future.